Hello and welcome back to the channel. How is everybody doing today? Oh, I hope you had a fantastic week and thank you for being back. And if this is your first time here, my name is Flavia and this is a variety channel. I don't have any other way to describe it. Today, I would like to be sharing with all of you something that has been quite tricky for me to talk about because sometimes you get emotional or I don't really know how to express myself because believe me or not, I think in English, I dream in English, but sometimes I still cannot find the right words. Basically, I live with fibromyalgia since 2017. And if you don't know what fibromyalgia is, I do not blame you. Fibromyalgia is a fairly recent disease. It was discovered in the 60s, but it is a chronic illness that has no cure. Basically, fibromyalgia is pain in your body for indefinite amounts of period for your whole life. You have good days, you have bad days, and the bad days usually are known as flare-ups. So before I get ahead of myself, because I do this very often, let me just tell you what fibromyalgia is. Fibromyalgia is a disease that is related to the brain, and no one really knows exactly how it works because every patient will have a different symptom, will have a different expression of the pain in their bodies. And this cannot be detected by any type of exam, such as, the common exams that we usually do when we go to the doctors. Blood tests, MRIs, X-rays, nothing will detect this disease. But there is a set of symptoms that will determine if someone has fibromyalgia. These are usually fatigue, intense pain in certain areas of the body. So if you have pain that is located in one area and is constant for more than 3 months, it's most likely that you have it. You will have also IBS, which is irritable bowel syndrome. So you don't do your needs very often or you do it too often. Basically, your body does not process the food as good as it should. Headaches. Did I say fatigue? Yeah, emphasize that. So basically, living with this disease, it's something that is very tricky because it's heavily connected to depression. Imagine if you have ever broken a bone or if you have ever had a procedure in which the anesthesia wasn't 100%, or if you sprinkled your ankle, or if any sort of pain that you ever had that you felt excruciating pain. Just imagine that happening every minute of the day. This is what someone who lives with fibromyalgia will have every single day. Fibromyalgia, like I said, has no cure because basically the neurotransmitters in your brain are having a malfunction and they are sending signals to your body that certain areas are with inflammation, or that these signals of pain are constantly being sent. There's a lot of research being done lately. In Brazil, there was a research with laser on the hands that apparently works miracles. But the most commonly known treatment for this disease, there's no cure, but you can find ailments. And everything is together. You cannot just choose one path and hope for the best. So if you have a headache, you will take a paracetamol, you will take an ibuprofen, and hopefully in a few minutes it's gone. With fibromyalgia, you will take medication and it will help, that's for sure. I mean, when I started having my symptoms in 2017, I had no idea what was happening to my body. I was in just pain that started growing. It started at my ankles and it was rising up from my legs and it ended up at the L5, which is the lower section of your back. And it was always so intense on the left side. But then because I was always compensating on the right side of my body, that side also started becoming more painful. And my muscles just were in a stage of atrophy or something like that. I literally lost so much movement in my whole body. I was so tense. I was slipping, clenching and clinging and like this, and I would wake up with bloody hands and bloody mouth when I slept. You also have cases in which you will not sleep for weeks. You are just literally passing out of exhaustion, and then you're waking up and perpetuating the cycle. That is one of the worst cycles you can ever perpetuate, because the pain is being fed by stress, bad eating habits. So there is an array of things that will contribute to that. Once I start feeling this pain, I went to several doctors. I went through different medications. I had tramadol, diazepam. I had, like really heavy painkillers, opiates, and those are a nightmare. When you start taking opiates, the dosage increases and increases and increases, and the pain, it's tolerable for a while, and then you have to go to the next dosage, and that is very dangerous. I did have a discussion with my doctor several times to try to find a better medication for me, and while we couldn't really find what was that I had, I was still on tramadol. The time I managed to get a diagnosis was August 2018. So after 8 months of excruciating pain and taking this heavy painkillers, which were not doing me really super good, all the exams that I did came back with no issues. Even the MRI, there was nothing to be seen. And my rheumatologist then told me I have fibromyalgia. I was already researching and learning about what this disease was, and I was so petrified to have it. I went into the MRI room hoping for something that could be treated with therapy, physiotherapy, that could be treated with surgery, and I left from there extremely upset, not to say sick. I mean, MRIs are so strange. I mean, I never felt claustrophobic in my life, but that was definitely a claustrophobic moment. So basically, when I got my diagnosis, I was hopeless. I already had depression happening in my life, and at that point, it just went to a new low. This new low was a low that I knew, with the plus of having pain. Going back to fibromyalgia, I want to make this a two-part video because there's just so much to say about things that you can do to help yourself to improve if you have fibromyalgia. Never stop researching. Living with chronic pain and depression and issues with eating, you have to completely readjust your diet and the medication, and you have to control your stress levels. And these are things that are kind of unrealistic in the society in which we live in. So a lot of people give up. A lot of people just keep on pushing through the day, taking 10 cups of coffee, taking as many painkillers as they can, and just making the most of it. And on a day off, you are just at home in your bed, and most of the times crying. And I did that. In the beginning, I just could not understand how that was happening to me and why I never heard of this disease before. Through my research, I found out there is approximately 7 million people only in Brazil living with fibromyalgia. There is an estimate around the same amount in the US. Only 1 in 10 fibromyalgia patients will be a man. This is a disease that heavily affects women. Why? They still haven't been able to figure it out. Aspects of fibromyalgia that are quite interesting is that it's heavily connected to your state of mind. Fibromyalgia resides in the DNA. There is a high probability that if someone in your family has it, you will most likely have it. But in a lot of cases, fibromyalgia will only come up to surface due to a trauma. It needs a trigger. And a lot of times, this trauma can be losing someone dear to you, losing your job, facing a stressful situation. Or it can also be a physical trauma, such as an accident, falling down the stairs. And this is where it becomes so intricate, because how is it something residing inside of you, dormant? It's suddenly awakened and it completely takes over. On my next video, I want to share more of how it was for me personally, but I will leave down below some links on if you have fibromyalgia that you can go and research. If you never heard of fibromyalgia, you can also go and have a look. So if you know anyone, or if you come across someone who has fibromyalgia, you can have more empathy towards this person. Because living with a silent illness is something that is haunting millions and millions of people all around the world. And seeing the rise in consciousness lately in the population worldwide, I come today to tell you, let's be more empathetic towards anyone. Everybody deserves respect. Of course, we have a debt as a society to pay. And that's why the Black Lives Matter movement is so intense and is being so heavily supported worldwide. However, let's use this opportunity to become more empathetic human beings, to rise up with your brothers and sisters, and to everybody that does not belong into a box just because we are comfortable with boxing that specific characteristic of a human being. I'm sending to you all the love in the world. Stay safe. Keep it real. And don't forget, the grass is not always greener on your neighbor's yard. Have a good day.